Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and guess what? Boom, you're watching the political vigilante rising up from the truth of Gotham. We don't have a cult following here. We're just everything I say is right. I don't put articles up that I haven't fact checked and then go, boom, I was right. We're going to do it all here, and we're going to talk about so the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. We've been covering this, obviously. I was just on Jordan Sheridan's show earlier today to discuss it on Rockfin. And so what happened is that the jury is in deliberations. They were in deliberations Monday, Tuesday, and part of Wednesday. But today and tomorrow they're taking off because I guess of Christmas, and they're coming back Monday. So we don't know what's going to happen. But what came out 2 days ago? 2 days ago, this came out, and not a peep by the corporate media. Not a peep. This news. Look at this. Maxwell case logs show how frequently Trump flew on Epstein jets, Bill Clinton too. So prior to this 2 days ago, there was only one flight log. There's only one flight showing Trump flying on an Epstein plane, which to me, that's like guilty. I'm going to show you in a second. They've discovered, because on, I think it was Monday or last week, they released, the prosecution brought up the flight logs. And this is a link from the Miami Herald. This is Julie K. Brown and Ben Weider. Julie K. Brown has been like on the forefront of the Epstein investigation from a mainstream newspaper. Now, you would think all the people in the corporate media, especially the MSNBC and CNN, they would be jumping all over this to crucify Trump, but they're not, because this is the bigger issue. They can crucify Trump about the congressional hearing about January 6th and what he's doing, and he's trying to file whatever, but they won't cover this. So we're going to get into this. So there's 5 extra flights, totaling 6, that Donald Trump, buckle up, QAnon, your boy's way more guilty. And Bill Clinton's guilty as fuck too. Bill Clinton was on 26 times. And Bill Clinton said I was only on 4 times. That alone should have made the media go crucify Bill Clinton. They won't. Hillary Clinton has been on twice. Nobody's mentioned that. Bill and Hillary Clinton have been to Epstein's compound numerous times in New Mexico, his New Mexico compound. Nobody's ever mentioned that. Because really, the ruling elites control this. This global, the raping and trafficking of children is run by the most powerful people, so they can control everything. Decades before he became president, Trump flew 4 times in 1993, once in 94 and once in 95, in addition to a flight in 97 that had been documented in portions of the flight log previously released. The 97 flight was the only one. It's like, oh, he's only been on 1 flight. No. 4 times. So 5 times total. I'm sorry, I was incorrect. 5 times he's been on the plane. There was 4 new ones. There was 1 plus these new 4. So 5 total. The flights were all between Palm Beach and New York City airports, with the June 94 flight stopping at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport between Palm Beach and New York. Wow. Where is the corporate media talking about it? Where is the screaming outrage? Because as I showed you on this, I've told you this is a show trial. How do we know it's a show trial? Because look, the photos of Epstein's New York City mansion from 2019 raid are inadmissible. The judge ruled they're inadmissible. Well, that's weird. Who's the judge? Judge Allison Nathan, presiding over the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. She's a member of the Skull and Bones sister secret society, Quill and Dagger. So she's already one of these blue blood, right? And John Kerry, a member of the Skull and Bones, as was George W. Bush. She was John Kerry's associate national counsel in 2004. She was a special assistant and White House counsel to Barack Obama from 2008 to 2010. And appointed to the federal bench by Obama. She was appointed to the appeals court this year by Joe Biden. And she has said, this woman, Judge Allison Nathan, has said that Alan Dershowitz is a luminary. We know this because Whitney Webb reposted what Maria Farmer, artistic whistleblower. The judge in Maxwell thinks Dershowitz is a luminary, unreal. And she reached out to Judge Allison Nathan, who presided over the trial. She had warm words for both lawyers. It was a treat for me to see these 2 luminaries in action. This is her talking about the judge. So the judge, we already know, is sort of Why would they not allow key evidence? And when it wasn't allowed, the prosecutor said, well, we just, it's a setback. You would think the prosecutors would have fought tooth and nail. You remember in the Rittenhouse trial, the prosecutors were fighting tooth and nail to get, like, there's that in the Rittenhouse trial, there's that social media post of him saying, something like to the effect of, oh, I got a gun. I can't wait to use it. I can't wait to shoot something. And they didn't allow that. Right. Well, who's the prosecutor? Who's the prosecutor? Do you think are the prosecutors dropping the ball, or are they James Comey's daughter? Maureen Comey, James Comey's daughter, is the lead prosecutor in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. Then there's all the stuff that isn't mentioned. First of all, Ghislaine Maxwell, numerous victims have brought this up, that she participated. And there isn't a sexual assault with a minor charge anywhere in there. It's not even in there. Then there's all of her ties to the intelligence community. None of that is mentioned. Whitney Webb brings this up on Unlimited Hangout. Meet Ghislaine, Daddy's girl. Absent from mainstream discourse on Ghislaine Maxwell's ongoing trial is any mention of the ties not only of herself, but her family to Israeli intelligence. Those ties, forged by Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, are critical to understanding Ghislaine's history and her role in Jeffrey Epstein's sexual blackmail and trafficking network. Right? We know that Acosta, who handled Epstein's first trial in 2009, said he was told to back off Epstein because he was a CIA asset. He was a CIA asset and told to back off. That's why Epstein in 2009 got this sweetheart deal. And then Donald Trump, who we now know was on Epstein's plane 5 times, put Acosta in his cabinet. So it's just this is the nonsense of QAnon. And this isn't me defending Bill Clinton. The Clintons are awful people, and clearly Bill Clinton is a goddamn pedophile, maybe even Hillary too. But now Trumpy Trump has even more evidence, not to mention numerous women, including Virginia Roberts Giuffre, trafficked out of Mar-a-Lago. It just keeps stacking up. And then in the trial, here's Ghislaine Maxwell's rat-faced sister and her horrible siblings defending her. But here's pictures outside of the courthouse. There's no photos of her. She doesn't get perp walked. Harvey Weinstein, that old rapist, we saw him hobbling up to his court. We don't see her. All we see are sketch drawings of the court. No photos of her in court. No photos, no mug shots, no nothing. Now, I'm not saying, oh, she's not there, it's a fake. I'm just saying, why is she getting special treatment? She's getting special treatment because these are the world elites. So I wanted to bring on the show to discuss this with us is host of Get Your News On with Ron Placone. Ron, I'm sorry, that's what I want. Here we go. Thank you for joining us today.
Happy holidays.
Max,
happy holidays.
It's such a uplifting story. Just watching the most powerful people in the world do a sham trial. So I don't know if you've been following this as closely as I have. It really seems like they're setting up either for some sort of acquittal, a little slap on the wrist, 18 months in some country club prison, because Maxwell obviously has evidence on all these powerful people. But I mean, what do you make of this when you see all this stuff? Not to mention, first, let's talk about what do you make of?
First of all, I do think it's fair and safe and reasonable to say I do not have as much of an ear to the ground on this stuff as you do. It'd be like if you were on my show and I'd be like, I don't know if you're following all the towns that are trying municipal broadband as closely as I am. I don't know if you know all the states that have some new orders for net neutrality. But anyway,
duly noted. I do not know the states that are trying municipal broadband, and I do not know anything about net neutrality. But just as
the
somebody
answer is Wyoming every single time. It's just Wyoming.
Okay, great.
Just go Wyoming. You can't go wrong. But
right.
It's interesting here. It's almost like the Julian Assange trial, but the opposite, where it's like in the Julian Assange trial, it's just like, well, the judge is friends with the person who arrested him, and their star witness is a convicted sex offender who also has been charged with multiple counts of fraud and was stealing from WikiLeaks for 7 years, was a turncoat on Julian Assange, and just admitted he was lying about everything. That's their star guy. There's a case here. Whereas, like, on her side of it, it was just like, oh, yeah, all these people that are going to, basically get her off are all here. And she has shown, and it's just eerie, man. And I know you can speak to this stuff way better than most people can, but it's like there was that picture where she just had that FBI book and she was just looking straight ahead. And then what was the whole thing? Was it legit where she was drawing the sketch artist? Do you remember that photo?
God, I don't know that I do remember that
You had to
photo.
have seen it. It was the person who, how like in the courtroom, there's the sketch artist who draws. They were drawing Ghislaine Maxwell, and Ghislaine Maxwell was drawing them.
Jesus Christ, that's creepy.
Yeah, you didn't see that? I mean, it was super creepy.
There's so many bizarre things, and not to, I mean, the fact that the corporate media, you would think, especially the neoliberal side of it, right? That they would, because obviously Fox News, with regard to the Epstein case, they brought up the Clintons, Bill Clinton, way more than Trump. They
And by the way, let's be fair to Bill here. Bill asked multiple times, define being on the plane, and no one answered him. So Bill invoked the George Carlin defense. He's like, you didn't ask me if I was on. I was in the plane.
And I was on it. I wasn't on the wing.
He's like, you asked me if I was on it. Like I wasn't sitting outside. I was in the plane. Why did we even say that?
Why? You guys, you can't ask the right questions. And the other thing I want to bring up in this Maxwell trial, only 4 victims have been allowed to testify. Annie Farmer, and then basically, I think 3 other women using pseudonyms, right? They don't want to be known in public. The Larry Nassar trial, the U.S. Olympic guy that was sexually assaulting all those young women and young girls, they brought up 150 witnesses in his trial. 150. And he got 175 years in prison. And they can only get 4 witnesses. I mean, this is the thing why it feels like a show trial to me. And my biggest concern here is because what happens if, regardless of whatever, like there's no way some of these charges they brought on her carry a maximum sentence of 40 years, which she just turned 60, or she's turning 60 in a couple of days. So that's basically a life imprisonment, right? 40 years.
Right.
So there's no way she's going to get anything more. There's no way she's going to get like 10 years or more. I just find that very hard to believe, because if she does, there's no way she doesn't have all of this evidence against these people, because that's what they did. They would collect video footage and photos of powerful people having sex with children and use that against them. That's how Epstein made his money in his fake hedge fund, because he would say, he'd have one of his crazy, creepy parties, and a butler would come down to some powerful guy and go, hey, do you want a massage from a beautiful young girl? Sure. The girl would perform sex acts. She would be a minor. They'd have video footage on it and then be like, okay, I got video footage of you. So now I need you to play ball, donate to my, or whatever, invest in my hedge fund, which they've proven to be it was a fake hedge fund. He invested in nothing. Or all these powerful people. I mean, this implicates the British royal family. I mean, Democrats, Republicans, 2 presidents. I mean, all these power, Hollywood. I mean, banking. I mean, the most power, Les Wexner, the creator of Victoria's Secret. All of these powerful people. So there's no way Maxwell, if she, especially, as Whitney Webb points out, she has experience and ties with her father being with Mossad. This just reeks of CIA and Mossad all over it. So she clearly has like evidence and is like, if I go down, you all are going down with me. So that's why, and they don't want to kill her, because then you have what happened. That was the mistake they made with Epstein. By killing him, Oh, I'm sorry. He hung himself with a paper T-shirt.
Well,
Peop-
actually, Graham, there's a new theory on Epstein, and I actually think this is 100% what happened. What I think was that Hillary Clinton went to Epstein's cell and read her masterclass until he did, in fact, kill himself. Find a more sound theory, Graham.
Ron, you've got me there, sir. I concede to that. That is the most. I mean, that would make anybody want to hang themselves. Is listening to.
I might not be following this stuff as closely as you, but I think I cracked that one. I think I figured that one out. So you're welcome, America, and
Thank you,
the
Ron.
world, really.
Thank you, Ron. So I mean, this just really is like, I think she's going to get a slap on the wrist or full on acquitted. Because the most
Yeah.
powerful people in the world are involved.
At first, I thought like it might just be they totally let her off, especially when you see these articles in Bloomberg making it out like maybe she's a victim.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like slap on the wrist is a little more likely. And I'll go a step further and say slap on the wrist in quotes, where it's like, oh, this is what we're giving her, and here's what it looks like on paper. In reality, it's going to be even less than that. It'll be like, she's going to get 18 months, and it's not going to be pretty. She's going to be somewhere shitty for a couple months, and then they're going to be like, she'll do the rest of it at home.
Yeah. And when that happens, this is when the corporate media will be like, Maxwell found guilty, because what they want, what the ruling elites want. Yeah, for a day. They'll do it for one day. And they want the ruling elites. They just want the majority of the people to go up. They got her. Man, we'll put that. Epstein's dead. They got Maxwell. Let's put that to bed, because
the
they don't want
to works.
The system works.
Mm-hmm.
And and if she's acquitted, they can even say, well, they gave her, I mean, she had a trial, they tried. So either way, they're going to say the system works, or, hey, our legal system isn't perfect, but, and the other thing that's critical here is that then this evidence that Quill and Dagger, secret society judge disallowed, that can never be used again. The testimony of these victims can never be used again. And therefore, there's no more prosecution that can happen. That's part of what this trial is all about, to seal it off so that no one can ever bring this up again legally. And everybody just goes back to pretending that billionaires aren't raping and selling children around the planet. And that's what they really want. They really want
this put to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very, very heavy thing, because it's like, I mean, I think you've been saying this for a long time now. It's just like Epstein himself and I guess Ghislaine Maxwell too, they're in the middle, really. Like as far as the power structure goes. So this is stuff that goes far beyond even like any of our comprehension, really. And it's just so painfully depressing, and that's putting it gently, what it is.
Yeah, it is painfully depressing to realize. I mean, as Stanley Kubrick said, the world is run by pedophiles, and they control the media, obviously, which is why there's those ridiculous sort of seed planting stories in Bloomberg of like, maybe she was just she wasn't perfect, but she was Epstein, he really pulled the strings and she didn't know what to do, or she was just booking party events and got lost in the shuffle. Like they're planting that seed, it's the same thing that the Catholic Church does. Oh, a couple of bad apple priests, and we didn't realize it. No, the Vatican knew. They shuffled these
transferred them by coincidence.
Yeah, we all none of them got prosecuted. Dude. We all just transfer them. We transfer them to third world countries where no one will prosecute. Like it's that same thing. Like, oh, Sandusky, Joe Paterno never knew, and weird, Paterno's dead. Weird, Epstein's dead. Like weird, we're not talking about how this global reach is. But
did you see the movie where what's his name? Al Pacino played Joe Paterno? Did you see that?
No, I have not seen that.
Oh, really? See, I've seen that.
That's been very impressive, Ron.
Yeah, I forget what it was called, but I have seen it. And it's, I mean, obviously it's about the Sandusky thing. And Joe Paterno is played by Al Pacino, and it was actually a really good movie.
I think it was an HBO one or something, right? It was just called Paterno or something. Maybe
Yeah,
not. Maybe it's on
probably.
Netflix. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was. I watched it on a flight.
Hmm.
It was like in the in-flight entertainment, and I was like, "Oh, this will be an uplifting one. I'm gonna give this a spin." And it was a good film, though. I mean, it was a very good film.
Well, yeah, I'll keep following this. There's probably going to be a verdict. I mean, the prosecution I got to say this too. The prosecution only, they rested after 10 days, like 4 witnesses in 10 days. Like, it's just such a show trial. Like this should be weeks of testimony, and all this hard evidence. None of that, all that evidence that we saw seized in the summer of 2019 from Epstein's penthouse and his creep island, all that stuff, none of there's nothing admissible in there. Thanks to this skull and crossbones judge. Like, unbelievable. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. We are still in our 9th month of demonetization from YouTube. So support what we're doing at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. It's free to sign up, and there's a premium level at $10 a month. And for that, you get everybody on the platform's premium content. Myself, Lee Camp, Ron Placone, Jimmy Dore, Whitney Webb, Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, and many, many others. You can also support what we're doing at Venmo at Graham-Elwood, and go to GrahamElwood.com. We have a PayPal button and a PO box. I also have crypto wallets, which are all in the show notes. Thanks for supporting what we do.